Rabbi Manis Friedman. Thank God it's Tuesday. Basically, crazy times unfolding as quickly as one can possibly imagine. I'm not sure we are ready for this kind of evolvement of events. And the question that I think is on everybody's mind these days is, are we living in the times of conspiracies or realities? And how can we tell conspiracy from reality? Where is conspiracy? Where is reality? I mean, the best example we had over last week's period is the Hunter Biden laptop, which a year and a half ago was a conspiracy, and today it has been proven to be a reality. So, where is conspiracy and where is reality, and how can we differentiate between the two? That would be the question of today.
Very good question. How was your Purim before we get to that?
I think best ever, honestly. Outstanding. And yours?
It was very, very nice. The weather here was perfect. Everybody was it was a good time.
Yeah.
And that's very valuable, especially today when it could have been ruined by our concerns and our worries and the bad news that is coming from Ukraine. It could have ruined everything. And I'm sure that for some people it did. And that would be very sad. Because nothing should ruin the good, no matter how bad the bad looks. But the question you're asking is perfect. In a world of confusion, that's exactly what we can't distinguish. Is it conspiracy or is it reality? Because we can make up so many theories and so many possibilities. And it's really not fair because there's only one correct answer and there are millions of wrong answers. How are you supposed to find the one right answer when the possibilities are endless? So we have a very good example, right? I went and wrote on the blackboard equals 2. That's what I wrote, equals 2. People walk into the room and they say, what equals 2? 1 plus 1. That's what the guy was writing. And I'm standing there listening to them. He was thinking 1 plus 1 equals 2. So this must be a kid starting kindergarten. Somebody else comes along and says, no, it's a little more sophisticated. You can tell from the handwriting. It must be 4 minus 2. And they get into a whole debate. How did the writer get to the 2? Through addition or through subtraction? But then somebody else comes along and says, wait a minute. It's 100 minus 98. No, it's 20 minus 18. No, it's like, anyway, this can go on endlessly, literally infinite. So I come in and I say, excuse me, but actually I was thinking 6 minus 4. And they say, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? My theory is better. Yeah, your theory is a very good theory. But the fact is, right? So we have this blessing, this really amazing gift. God comes along and says, did you notice on the blackboard it says equals Moshiach? You know what I was thinking? 2022. Nah, that's not a good year. No, I have a theory that says that he should come next year, that he should come a year ago, that he should. Yeah, they're all good theories, but let me tell you what I was thinking. In other words, we know the answer before we even ask the question. That is such a gift. Because otherwise, how would we ever know that we're right? Why isn't everything a conspiracy theory or just a theory? When does it stop being a theory? When it corresponds and it matches what we know to be the truth. How do we know a child is healthy? Because he behaves like a mensch. Well, what's a mensch? He has people bullying him and he doesn't kill them. See, he's not a mensch. If he was really a healthy person, he would kill his bullies. Really? Is that a fact or is that a theory? How do we know? How do we know to be proud of people who fight for their independence? Maybe independence is just a theory and you don't need it. And you can make a good argument for that. What are you dying for? Just so that you can have your own property? What, that's worth dying for? Maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe not. How are we supposed to know? So the Torah comes along and says, let me give you a model of the finished product and then figure out how to get there. But at least you know where you're going. Stop making up theories. And if you try one method and it doesn't work, try another method. But you know where you're going. And that's why we've made whatever progress we have made. Because we knew what things ought to be like. So we know if we're getting there, we're not getting there, we're almost there, or we're completely wrong-minded because we're getting the wrong results. So that's another reason, and it's a good reason, to not only believe in God, but also to believe in God communicating his thinking to us. Because if not, hey, whatever works for you, who says it's wrong, who says you're right, who says I'm right, there's nothing. There's just willpower. The toughest guy and the most stubborn guy will always win. Does that make him right? Usually it makes him wrong. But how do we know that? So without, not only must there be a God, God must also communicate his thinking. If not, just forget it. Give it up. Who says fighting for your independence is right? Who says occupying half the world is right? It's all theory. And why should we die for our theories? This is ridiculous. And how do we take sides? Oh, that theory is wrong. The other theory is right. No, they're all theories. Unless you know where we ought to be. If you know where you ought to be, nothing will stop you. No amount of conspiracy theories. So as we're trying to get to where we need to be, we judge events by whether it's getting us there or taking us further away. Now we know. Now we know. So, very disappointing, very shocking that Purim was not the miracle or the blessing that should have been, that must be. It was like we were we were predicting God a little too predictable. Oh, sure, on Purim, that's when he does stuff. No, he does stuff whenever he wants. He's not programmed like, he needs a good day to do good things. And Purim is a good day. That's what I was thinking. But that's so petty. Why shouldn't God choose another day to become a special day? And then we'll have another Purim. Another excuse not to go to work. So there's no question as to where we're going. That's not the question. The question is only which method is going to get us there fastest. So there's a fascinating thing in this week's Torah reading. It's so fascinating and never noticed it before or paid attention. We've been reading since the beginning of the book of Shmos how Moshe is building a Mishkan. He's building this temple for God because God said, make me a holy place and I will rest there. And we're given all the details down to the inches, the materials, the sizes, the order of things, how you make them, when you make them, where you put them, who carries them, who puts it together, who lights the menorah, every detail. Then comes the inauguration. It's all done, it's finished, it's completed, it's beautiful. But now you have to inaugurate. So there's all sorts of procedures. Aaron has to do this, Moshe has to do that. Okay, all the inauguration is done. And God does not appear. They pray and they ask, please accept the work of our hands. We worked so hard. We did all of this because you wanted a place and you said you will dwell among us if we do this. And the Shekhinah does not appear. So the people came to Moshe and said, Moshe, we trusted you. You said if we do this, God will be here. He's not here. Was it all in vain? Moshe says, no, it was not all in vain. But you think that it's going to happen because of us? We just made the preparations. It's going to happen because of Aaron, my brother. He is the righteous one. And then Aaron invited God into the Mishkan, and God appeared. Okay, very nice. Moshe is humble. He recognizes that his brother is holier, older, his big brother. You have to respect your big brother. Nice. But something else struck me. Moshe does all the work. Everything. In fact, when it came to putting up the boards and the coverings over, that served as the roof, no one could do it. It was too heavy. Only Moshe could do it. So it's all him. Every step, every detail, all him. Shouldn't God come in response to the one who does all the work? No. It comes because of Aaron. He didn't do anything. Yet. Of course, he's going to be the high priest and he's going to bring all the sacrifices and light the menorah, but he hasn't done anything yet. And it's all going to come because of him. It's an amazing thing. And that is really humbling. You put in all the work, you expect, I'm the one. So what we see from this is We have to do a lot of work. That's our part, that's our job, that's our role, that's our mission. Okay. What's going to make God visible in the world is not how you prepare. It's what you do once it's done. Getting ready for Mashiach is absolutely essential. Making the world a better place, adding positivity, bringing in more mitzvot, absolutely. We've been doing this for 3,000 years, 2,000 miserable years, but we've been doing it. So you think, oh, okay, so now, I did it. But this is like an amazing... Is Mashiach going to come because we're ready? Ready for what? What makes you ready? Oh, we did everything we needed to do. Is that really what ready means? Or does ready mean I know what I'm going to do once Mashiach comes? If I don't know what's going to happen once Mashiach comes, I'm not ready. I'm ready for him to come, and when he comes, I'll be completely confused and I won't know what to do. That's called ready. In other words, if you don't know what it's going to be like once you're there, you're not ready. Yeah, you're ready for the Golus to end because you did everything to end the Golus. But Mashiach is going to come, and you're going to be like a lost sheep. That's not called ready.
Rabbi Friedman, this is the first conversation of this kind we're having. So how do we get ready? What do we need to do? Looks like we're entering a new plateau.
Yes. And that's what the Rebbe kept saying. We're the last generation of darkness and the first generation of light. Okay, so we know what to do to end the darkness. How are we going to handle the light? Like, what are you going to do if everything is perfect? Go crazy? So we have, like Moshe, we did everything. Anybody who thinks otherwise is just being nasty. To say we haven't done what we're supposed to do, no. And particularly this last year, the amount of godliness that has come into the world. It's like they built the Mishkan, everything was ready, everything was done, but the Shekhinah did not appear. What does that mean? What does that mean? If the Shekhinah did appear, what would it look like? What are you expecting to see? A bright light? What is that, a UFO? What are you expecting to see? If God is among us, if God is present, you would feel differently. Not you would see a light, you would become enlightened. So they built the Mishkan, everything was done, everything was complete, and they looked at themselves and they said, I don't feel much different. I feel accomplished. I think I deserve a little credit, but that's the old thinking. Nothing new. The new came in the merit of Aaron. Because Aaron was the one who was going to actually serve in the Mishkan, in the temple, in the way that. Right? So he is actually going to do it once everybody is ready. Everybody got ready. All right, so in this past year, God has become visible. Not to the eye. That is yet to happen. But God became visible. I hear stories from all over the world. People who never thought of God before, and they had a little issue, and they thought, God is trying to tell me something. Whoa, where did that come from? People all over the world thinking, should I convert and become a Jew, or should I just study more Judaism and try to get the most out of it? All over the world. So there's no question that we did what we need to do. Are we as great as our grandparents in terms of observance? And no. We did what we could do, which is all that is expected of us. Each of us in our own way, we did what we could do to make the world better. So we can say, and we must say, the temple has been built. It's all done. Now, we're terrified. Now we have to go into the temple and meet God? Oh, I don't know. Yes, that's what I've been working at, and that's what I've been hoping for, but now that it's upon us, I don't know. Do I really want to do this? I was just listening to Jordan Peterson. What an individual.
I listen to him too periodically.
And he was saying, who among us has the audacity to say, I believe in God? Do you know what that means? Do you know what you would be like if you really believed in God? You wouldn't be the way you are at all. So believing in God is just a statement? Raise your right arm and say, I believe. That's it? Boy, you got to have chutzpah to say, yeah, I believe in God. Well, then, look at you. This is what a person who believes in God looks like? Wow. That is beautiful. Right? So, yes, hey, we believe in God. We want God. Yeah, bring God into the world. Bring heaven down to earth. Oh, it's happening? Wait. That means that I got to change everything. I'm not so sure I'm ready for this. So, the Torah, this week's portion says, you have to do whatever you need to do to get ready. And then somebody has to have the courage to say, God, come on in. And I will light the menorah as you say, and I will bring all the sacrifices as you say. I'll do it. Ooh, that gives us the courage. We need one person to say, we can handle godliness. Not only when it's lacking, yeah, well, then everybody wants it. But when it actually happens, how are you going to handle this? So let's ask a very practical question. You wake up tomorrow morning and you read on the news or you hear on the news, Putin got up and said, wrong, we've been doing it all wrong. This is God's world and it has to be his kind of world. And so whatever it takes to make the world more godly, I'm in. Let's do it. How are you going to handle this? You want it. We all want it. And once it happens, what are you going to do?
I think that's when the real separation between good and evil is going to kick in. Those who really, really want it are the good ones, and those who don't are not so much.
Right. So what I'm saying is the average person wants it. And the average person won't know what to do when it happens. Because, there is some truth to the idea that too good can be painful. Are we ready for what is really, really good? How are we going to react?
I got to be honest, Rabbi Friedman.
We'll put Putin on the cover of Time magazine?
Yeah.
Man of the Year.
Been done. I got to be honest, Rabbi Friedman. As you're talking about it, I am getting this very scary feeling inside me, because it's true. For a second there, I imagined, okay, this is it, and God is here, and oh my God, are we ready? Never thought about it. We are so into wanting it to happen that are we ready for it to truly happen? Wow, today is very revolutionary thought. Thank you for that. So let's continue. I'm sorry. Just wanted to share my feelings.
Yeah. And that's what struck me about this week's Parsha. So we know when things are so bad we can't handle it, which is a compliment to the human condition. We can tolerate only so much, and then it's like too much evil. But isn't it true on the positive side also? Isn't there too much good and we can't handle it? So this is the powerful but so simple message. A number of times the Torah says Moshe instructed Aaron on what he needs to do, and Aaron did as he was told. And all the commentaries ask, well, of course he did what he was told. Why would you think not? Why does that need to be said? And the answer to that is because you might suspect that it was too good for him to handle. He couldn't handle the goodness. He couldn't handle the holiness. When you're doing something that holy, you trip. You fall on your face. You become clumsy and nervous, and you can't get it right because you're so good, and you want to do it all so right that you can't get it right. You're overwhelmed by goodness. So the Torah compliments Aaron a number of times and says Aaron did as he was told. He could handle all that goodness. So Aaron becomes the hero of the day because God is not going to come and overwhelm us. There's no point in that. So we need to be like Aaron. All the goodness and the holiness, the infinite divinity of it all, will handle it. And how? Make a simple calculation. We have handled the worst of the worst. Darkness that should have been fatal, emotionally, spiritually. It should have destroyed us completely. We should all have given up on God. We should all have dropped Judaism. We should all have resented being a Jew. And we would be justified after the Holocaust. Now, would you blame a Jew in the Ukraine who says, this is not working for us? Here we thought we were doing pretty good. Built beautiful synagogues, reestablished great communities, had wonderful programs for everybody. And then this? If we could handle overwhelming darkness, we could handle overwhelming goodness. If you can't scare us with holocausts, you're not going to scare us with holiness. Yeah, we'll be a little overwhelmed there for a moment. But is there any question that we can handle it? We can handle it. And we got to think that way. What are you going to do when everything is perfect? Oh, then we'll just be happy. That's not a good answer. So we have to think future, not past and not present. It's going to happen today or tomorrow. What do you mean you don't know how you're going to handle it? You got to have a little foresight.
Ваши голоса звучат ясно.
So sorry, Rabbi Friedman. The computer is telling us otherwise, but you know what? I can override the computer. That's a good thing.
You're the boss.
Yeah, looks like for a little bit longer. Rabbi Friedman, amazing. I mean, this conversation has turned out completely different, thank God, than the way I was preparing it. I'll come clean. I was going to ask a few questions about the Nazis of today and the Iranian nuclear deal and the threat to the Jewish people and to the Jewish state. But what you did there is you kind of like annulled all of this and you brought us into the next state of hopeful, where we are no longer should be busy assessing our world as we know it today, but actually bringing our consciousness to the next level and preparing for something way, way greater. I think today is a miraculous show, and I thank you for it. It's very, very amazing and very inspirational and gives us a lot of different things to think about than what we've been concentrating on lately. Thank you for that.
Look, if we can't believe absolutely confidently that this problem in Eastern Europe is going to resolve itself because that's like too good to be true, then you're not ready for Mashiach, because that's really going to be too good to be true. So if you can't even imagine a world without war, we're not thinking progressively. Of course this is going to end peacefully. Of course the world is going to continue to exist. It's too good for God to allow it to be destroyed. Many, many years ago, it was so bad that God had to destroy it and start all over again. Not today. Way too much goodness. The world has become way too precious in God's eye. So, I mean, if we believe in goodness at all, a little bit, that the good is more real than the bad, at least that, then what's the question? Did God create the world for it to destroy itself? No. Did God create the world for it to be endlessly evil? No. No. What are we thinking? So what about all the conspiracy theories? They're all theories that don't work because none of them lead us to where we are going. The fate of the world is not undecided. It was decided when creation first happened. That's called creating with a purpose. So, nuclear disasters, God forbid. Why would God allow that in his world that has become so good? Oh, you don't think the world is good? Well, you got to think again. You focus way too much on the negative.
Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much for setting us straight. This is what we need this, thank God it's Tuesday time period in our lives. And of course, I want to let people know that Tuesdays is only on RUSA Radio, but it's on YouTube and it's on internet. You can find Rabbi Friedman's lectures, and it can be any time of the day, extremely convenient. Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman. It's amazing. This is beyond valuable for our community and for humanity, what you're doing. Thank you so much. And unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye, but not for too long, hopefully. And hopefully next week we'll be smiling with a lot of good news.
Amen to that.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Friedman. Have a wonderful week.